Hi, I'm Dr. Betsy Greenleaf, and I'm here again with another episode of Body, Mind, Spirit. And I'm so excited today. We have, as part of our spring cleanup, we have the spa doctor, Dr. Trevor Cates. Dr. Trevor Cates is a best-selling author of The Clean Skin from Within. She's also the founder of the Spa Doctor Natural Skincare. She's the first woman to be licensed as a naturopathic doctor in the state of California. I can't keep track of all the things that she does. She's been on TV shows such as The Doctors and Extra TV. She also has her own podcast and she's hosted a PBS special. So, Dr. Trevor Cates, where do you have the time to do all this stuff?
Well, it's amazing when we have a passion and a purpose and excitement about what we do. There are ways to fit it all in.
Yeah, so, I think it's so exciting. So you, as a child, had problems with your skin, and that led you down this road. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, when I was a kid, I had a lot of health challenges. A lot of it stemmed from allergies, but they'd show up in my skin as eczema, hives, mysterious bumps and itchy rashes that would come up. And it must have been so frustrating for my parents. They took me to see so many different doctors and specialists, and every medication I was put on, I'd either have an adverse reaction or an allergic reaction to it. And I remember feeling so miserable, the itching and all of the skin eruptions, plus the embarrassment of having skin problems, particularly when they show up on your face. It's so embarrassing. But thankfully, my parents didn't give up searching, and they eventually found a holistic practitioner that they took me to. And it was the one thing that really turned my health around. And I remember thinking at a really young age, I think it was like 11 years old, I remember thinking, why wasn't this approach given to us right at the beginning? Why wasn't this presented, just even if it was just an option of choosing a more holistic approach? Why did I have to go through all of these other things to find this? And so it planted a seed early on in my head. And then later on in life, when I was in college, I learned about naturopathic medicine and about how we can get to the root cause and support the body's innate ability to heal with more of a natural approach or a holistic approach. And so that's what led me to become a naturopathic physician. And I graduated 20 years ago from naturopathic medical school. And it really wasn't until about 10 years ago that I started to focus more on skin. And it's funny that I didn't do this initially because it is what really got me into natural medicine. But what I realized my patients kept saying to me when they would do my 2-week weight loss program in the spas I was working in, they would say, Dr. Cates, I've lost all this weight. I feel great. But what surprises me is my skin. I didn't know my skin could look this good. And so their skin issues were clearing up. Their skin was looking just healthier than it had ever looked. And to me, I was like, well, of course, skin is an outer reflection of inner health. But then I realized that there's this typical conventional approach to skin, which is if you have a skin problem, what can you apply topically to suppress it or cover it up without really realizing that there are underlying causes behind it. So that's what led me to write my book, Clean Skin from Within, and create the Spa Doctor skincare line, as well as the supplements that we carry. So it really is, I wanted to get this message out to more people that are struggling with skin, that skin is actually our magic mirror, and it gives us these great clues about our overall health. So instead of being quick to cover them up or suppress them, take a moment to pause and think, what am I doing? What can I do to help address these?
I think that's such a great message. And I'm finding myself, I just recently opened an aesthetics part of my practice, and I'm finding it frustrating because I think people are still so into that. Like, you're right. If I have something wrong with my skin, let me just slather myself with something or put something on. So it's trying to get that message out that you got to work on the inside first to actually improve the outside. But what are some of the underlying factors that cause people to have skin problems?
Right. Yeah, and that is really important to address these underlying causes. And the good news, actually, relating back to what you just said, is that we can address these both internally and externally. So it's interesting because as a naturopathic physician, initially I was doing only from the inside out, only helping people with, diet and lifestyle changes and balancing hormones, some of these things. And then I realized that there really actually are things you can do topically to help support the skin. So the magic is when you do both. So we'll talk about that. But let me tell you about the root causes. What I found is I was seeing these patterns in my patients, and I found that there are 6 root causes behind skin issues. And when I name them, you'll see they're not just related to skin issues. So the idea is that when we address these root causes, we're going to help our skin, but our health in other ways. So things like nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, microbiome disturbances, so gut issues as well as the skin microbiome, oxidative damage, and blood sugar issues, inflammation. These 6 root causes, when you address them, you're helping the skin. But think about all the other health conditions that are related to these. And skin is oftentimes an early warning sign that one of these is out of balance. And so if you pay attention early on, it's oftentimes you can avoid a lot of other health issues down the road. But I always remind people, it's still, even if you have skin issues plus a number of other issues, it's not too late as long as you get going.
And you're right. Going back to what you said before, what I didn't understand until recently is all the toxins that are in the majority of the products that are out there. Of course, not your products, which I can't wait till you talk about yours later because I love your products, but we don't think about how toxins affect our skin and how our skin is basically our largest organ.
Yeah, and there is a big shift right now towards a lot of popularity for natural skincare products because people are becoming more aware of toxic ingredients in skincare products and how this is a real issue. But the problem that comes with all this is that there's little regulation in the skincare industry. And as a skincare manufacturer, I can tell you it's actually amazing what skincare companies could and some do get away with when it comes to what they put in the products and not have to put it on the label, not have to be
Wow.
concerned about it. In the United States, there's only been about 11 ingredients banned, whereas in Europe, they've banned over 1,000 ingredients in personal care products. So, it really is up to the consumer to figure out how to be discerning about this and how to understand how to actually ask questions, read labels, and find companies that are actually doing good practices, and they're just taking them on themselves because there's nobody that's going to be telling them that, or very little regulation. I say there is some regulation, but it's kind of wild how the word natural or even the word hypoallergenic really don't have any regulation. Organic does have some regulation. When it says organic, it does seem to have a certain percentage of certified organic ingredients. But otherwise, it's kind of the Wild West when it comes to skincare.
Yeah, and you think about it, so much is absorbed through our skin into our systems. So it is. I'm waiting for you to come up with a makeup line. So start working on that in your spare time.
Right.
So
I know makeup is a big one. It's true. It's a trickier to do online because all the different skin tones and
yeah.
shades and everything. But here's the thing: what I found, what our customers continue to tell us over and over again, is they actually don't need to wear as much makeup because they have less to hide. So that's actually a really good sign when you get to the point where using just your moisturizer, using your good cleanser and moisturizer, you're like, actually, I don't really need to put much makeup on, if any. And then maybe just a little bit of gloss and a little bit of mineral mascara and, some zinc oxide sunblock. Maybe it's tinted. You don't really need a whole lot if you're really addressing those root causes with your skin, both internally and externally.
You also talked about that there's 5 different types of skin types. What kind of types do we have?
Right. Well, people, when they think about skin types, people usually think dry, oily, mature, sensitive, those types of skin types. But that doesn't help you figure out what the root cause is necessarily. So, what I decided to do when I was writing my book, and I was doing the research on it, I was noticing these patterns in my patients. I realized that not everybody has all 6 of these root causes. So I created a skin quiz to help people identify their skin personality type. And I actually gave them all human names, and I call them skin personality types. So they're Amber, Olivia, Sage, Emmett, and Heath. And so each one of these skin types has a few of the root causes associated with them. So that way you get to, when you find out what your skin type is, and people can just go to theskinquiz.com to find out their skin type. It's a free online quiz, theskinquiz.com. And when you find out your skin type, it'll help you really hone in on those specific root causes, whether it's hormonal imbalances or blood sugar issues. You'll be able to really hone in on that.
And we're talking back about like things that we put into our body affecting our skin. Are there specific foods that can cause us to have skin issues?
Yes, and the number one food that I see related to skin issues is probably not going to be a big surprise to you. It's sugar. And but a lot of people think of sugar is only something they need to worry about if they're trying to lose weight. But we know there's so many other issues with sugar that can create problems in the body, including accelerated aging for glycation issues. So with glycation, what happens is when your blood sugar increases, glucose can bind to proteins in the body. And in the case of skin, we're talking about collagen. And collagen has this extremely valuable purpose of keeping that nice texture and firmness to our skin. And so when glucose binds to collagen, it makes it more rigid and less elastic, which leads to more wrinkles and sagging skin. And also, with an increase in blood sugar, the other thing that happens is our insulin will increase in response to elevated glucose. And with increased insulin, that actually triggers excess sebum production, the oils in the skin, as well as excess androgen activity. And so that will lead to more acne breakouts. So if you've ever wondered why, when you overindulged a little bit, why all of a sudden you're breaking out in some acne, is probably why. And of course, there are people that are more susceptible to blood sugar issues. So those people are going to want to be particularly careful about sugar, as well as other foods that cause the blood sugar to increase, like those high carb foods or other forms of sweeteners like honey or maple syrup or agave syrup. So it's not just sugar, it's really any of the things that increase your blood sugar.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Cates. And we're going to take a commercial break. "80% of women will develop a pelvic health condition at some point in their lives. There is relief. There is hope. The Pelvic Floor Store, your resource for personal health." So we're back again with Dr. Trevor Cates. All right, so you were telling us a little bit about foods that can irritate or aggravate skin conditions, and we were really talking about sugar being the main one. Are there others that we should be concerned about?
Yes, and I mean, sugar is really one of the biggest ones across different skin types and skin issues. But we also want to be concerned about there in my book, Clean Skin from Within, I talk actually 10 different foods that are triggers for skin. And I encourage people to, when they follow my 2-week program, to eliminate all 10 of them and then reintroduce them back and explain how to reintroduce them back in to determine if they really are problem food for you. So some examples of that would be dairy products. So dairy is one of the big triggers, especially for people with acne, sometimes also with eczema. So dairy can be one of them. Another one could be gluten. And there are some people find they can't have any dairy or any gluten. Other people find that they can have certain amounts or certain types of dairy products. So it's a little bit different for everyone. but typically these are some of the most common ones I see. And it could be a great place to start.
That's what I like too. You have this basically just 2 week plan to getting clean, like clearer skin. I'm like, a lot of times people think anytime they have to do something for the health, they're like, oh, it's going to take a lot of time and energy. But this is a 2 week plan that you have spelled out in the book. So, and you have, I guess, 4 points to that 2 week plan. What do those entail?
Yeah. So in 2 weeks is what I found is, so when I first started practicing naturopathic medicine, I had a 6 week program. Then I found I found that people had a hard time with it. So then I got done at 4 weeks. And then what I realized is 2 weeks is actually a great place to start. And not everybody will have a complete cure recovery of their skin issues within 2 weeks, but 2 weeks is enough time to see enough difference and a big enough change to help you figure out where to go next. So it's sort of like a reset reboot, but it's not the end all. It's like not like you could just do 2 weeks and then never do anything else again.
But it's so easy because you like mentally you're like, okay, I can commit to 2 weeks. So that just gets the ball rolling.
Absolutely. And it really does usually encourage people that they're on the right track. So with the 2 week program, there are 4 different aspects, like you said. So there's clean plate, clean slate, clean body, and clean mind. So the clean plate are foods to avoid, like sugar, and foods to eat instead. So we don't always want to just focus on what to take out, but what should you be eating instead? And in my book, I also have a bunch of recipes that follow this to make it easy for people. But, foods that are rich in antioxidants, for example, colorful fruits and vegetables, or are foods that are rich in omega-3s, those can be beneficial for the skin. And then there's the clean slate section of the book, which talks about what to put on the skin and what ingredients to avoid and what to use instead. And then the clean body section is about other ways you can reduce toxins in your environment and ways to support the body's detoxification pathways, because skin is actually a detoxification organ. And so we need to do things to help support it for detoxification. And then clean mind is the last section. And that's about mindfulness and stress management practices, which we all could use more of, right? And so, with the clean mind section, what I think is so important with that is that people a lot of times don't realize that skin can get really aggravated by stress, and skin problems oftentimes stress people out. So they get caught in this vicious cycle. So that is an important part of the program.
And I love that because I always talk about that you could be doing everything perfect for your body, but if you're not dealing with the other aspects of your life, things aren't going to get better. So you need to be addressing all of those, body, mind, and spirit. Yes. So now here's my one of the questions. So from a business standpoint, I just got my MBA not too long ago. I'm actually fascinated. Like, what made you go, okay, now I'm going to make my own skincare brand? Like, at what point did you go, all right, I need to be doing this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I was doing the program with my patients and leading them through it, and they would come back to me and say, okay, so you want me to have natural skincare products, but I can't find any that I actually find that work. And the type of patients I had that's at the Waldorf Astoria in Park City, they were expecting a certain thing from their, really expensive products and things. So they weren't getting that from the natural products they were using. So I started to dig into the research and realized that there are a lot of natural skincare lines that are missing out on certain things. And so not only do we want our skincare products to be free and clear of ingredients like synthetic fragrance and parabens and those sorts of things, but we also want them to have natural actives, so those ingredients that actually do work to help support the skin, and also to have the right pH. The pH of the skin is extremely important, and a lot of skincare products are actually in the incorrect pH. So our skin has this mild acidity to it. And if you think about skin as our largest organ, one of its biggest functions is to be a barrier, provide a barrier function to the outside world. So having the mild acidity to it helps it with that function. But a lot of skincare products have a high pH, like especially cleansers, bars of soap that's suds and foam usually means I have a high pH. And even water has a pH of 7, which is too high for the skin. And the research shows that there's actually there's a mild acidity range of 4.6 to 5, especially for the face. That's particularly helpful in supporting the health of the skin and the skin microbiome. So the research shows that it can help with, if you're keeping that mild acidity, that you can help reduce breakouts and blemishes. You can also help with graceful aging and reducing wrinkle length and depth. So that's why. So when I was doing this research and I found all this, I realized, okay, I've just got to make my own skincare line, because that way I know it's truly clean. I know where the natural ingredients are coming from, and I can do analysis of these and make sure that they're actually active, as well as testing the pH of every product that we produce. And so I guess it was a little bit of, I want the best for myself and my family and my friends and my patients. And so I'm going to do this and then share it with others.
That's amazing. And where can people find your products?
Yeah, so people can go to my website, thespadoctor.com, and doctor is abbreviated DR, so it's THESPADR.com. And people can go there and learn more about the Spa Doctor skincare products. We have a 4-step skincare system that's our signature top-selling product, and really it works so great. We've gotten hundreds of amazing reviews from our customers.
I have to actually say that I've used your products and I love it, just the way that it feels, like even just like the way the products feel and how your face feels after you, like immediately after you use them. There's like this kind of like soft, silky sensation that I'm like, ooh, I really like this. So,
and it's amazing is that you can get that feeling from completely natural products. A lot of times people think that they need to have those synthetic ingredients, and that just really are not good for your skin, short term or long term, but you can actually get that effect with the right natural skincare.
I wanted to ask you too about with what kind of steps should we be taking when it comes to skincare? Because I have seen patients where they're putting like 30 plus different products on their face. I have people that are just washing their face with water. Like what are the ideal like steps that we should be taking?
That's such a great question, because in the skincare manufacturing world, of course, they want to come up with a lot of SKUs, a lot of different products. So you'll buy more and more products. But what I found is that really they're just 4 steps. And that's why I created this system. So of course, a really great cleanser. And cleansing is actually one of the biggest mistakes that people make in their skincare routine, because they tend to expect this squeaky clean feel. But that squeaky clean feel that we're oftentimes used to it's because our oils have been stripped from our skin. But our skin produces these beautiful natural oils that actually protect it and help with that mild acidity. So we don't want to strip the skin. We want to use, actually, I prefer an oil-based cleanser. I know that sounds counterintuitive for some people, but it actually, when formulated correctly, it actually will remove all makeup, all the debris, and without stripping your skin. And then following that, if you're using a good cleanser, you don't actually need a toner. You can just go into a serum. I like serums because they're designed to absorb rapidly. So that's when you can get lots of antioxidants in the skin and some of those nutrients. And then following with what we do is a light moisturizer, followed by a plant-based oil blend. And so that way you get that finishing glow. And then on top of that, and I recommend people do that both morning and night. And there's reasons for, doing it both morning and night. There are different reasons for each, but it also is a great part of self-care instead of that, pampering effect and stress management practice you can have. In addition to that, then you want to use a zinc oxide based sunscreen if you're going out in the sun, and then using things like a good facial exfoliant, maybe a mask or something, and body products. It really doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
Great. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. Where can people find out more about you?
Absolutely. So we're all over social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can also go straight to our website, thespadoctor.com. And I want to remind everybody to take the skin quiz too. Go to theskinquiz.com and find out your skin personality type.
And I also got a coupon for our listeners that you can save 20% off your entire purchase on the skindoctor.com with using save 20. So it's a capital S, lowercase AVE, and then 20.
Yes,
So,
perfect. At thespadoctor.com,
yeah.
thespadr.com is the website.
Okay, great, great. So once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us today.
Absolutely. It's great to join you.
I also want to remind our listeners and viewers that if you enjoyed today's programming, then take the time to go to wytv7.org and donate so that we can keep on bringing you wonderful programming and information. Also, if you'd like to know more information about myself, Dr. Betsy Greenleaf, you can go to drbetsygreenleaf.com, and that's a DR also, and you can follow me on social media. And we'll be back here again next week. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Cates.
Thank you.